you have more downs than ups, I think, in this game of cricket. So I think you got to enjoy it and embrace those moments. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a professional cricketer from probably 15 or 16. I still love playing. But yeah, I guess that's the exciting thing. The new chapter's about to start. Ooh, I've been asked a few questions in my time. How would I answer that? Oh, I mean, I wouldn't say cricket is life, but cricket's obviously had a massive influence from when I first started as a 5-year-old to where I am now. I still love playing. But yeah, I guess that's the exciting thing. The new chapter's about to start. Luteru, Ross, Patola, Te Taylor. There's going to be a name that I'm going to chuck in there that a lot of people won't know. It's actually Laupepe. You would have to talk to my mum to get I guess the story behind it. But a few years ago, I got I'm a chief of our village back home, and that's the Laupepe side of it. It was funny when I went to Samoa in 2017, and that was how they actually talked to me. It wasn't Luteru or Ross. It was Laupepe, the being chief of the family in the village, I guess. I actually get called it a lot, especially obviously around my island family or my nickname, Kelu. So when they're in the grounds around the country or even in some parts of the world, when I hear Luteru or Kelu yelled out in the crowd, that's where I know where they are. So that's pretty cool, where if you just yell out Ross, well, I'm probably not going to look into the crowd because I don't know if they're giving me jip or actually wanting my attention.
He sees it the other way. Maybe he should go that way and hit it for 6.
You were saying, Nasser, what a way to bring up your 150. 154, that has gone onto the top tier. Stand over there. Remarkable innings from a remarkably good young player.
Yeah, it wasn't very much an academic. I can remember playing my first 11 game as a third former. Wairarapa had a fantastic history for sport in Wairarapa College. You had Sir Brian Lahore, Sir Bob Childs, they all went to Wairarapa College. So, when you go there, you see some pretty prestigious, for a little school in the Wairarapa, to have people like that, that was a pretty cool thing to grow up and see. But then I got a opportunity to go to Palmy Boys, and I think that was great. It gave me life to leave home, go to boarding school, and it was traditionally a cricket school. That definitely fast-tracked my cricket, I found. I was like most kids. I think it was like a hockey sock. We had a massive tree out the front of our house, and it wasn't even a cricket ball. It was a hockey ball, and I used to just hit balls for literally hours. I had 3 sisters who were sporty, but they didn't want to throw to me all day, and Dad never did. So that was a way of, even if I'd had a hit beforehand, that was my way of sort of occupying myself. And many a times the neighbours would get really annoyed when you're hitting balls at 9 o'clock, quarter past 9 at night, and you just go bang, bang, or do some back foot. And then you hear this, "Oi, shut up." Used to always have catches either before an inter-school or before a club game on Saturday. We'd have knickers at lunchtime, and I think that sort of I always liked fielding at first slip, but I was actually in first slip thanks to Flem in my first game. He got injured, I think. He hurt his thumb. And I don't know if I was no good in the field, but I went into first slip in my first test at Wanderers. So I learnt early on that that's not a bad place to be. And I think I was fortunate enough that Flem retired. My 6th test on, I've had a pretty good seat at first slip.
catch from Ross Taylor. There's life in the old dog yet. That is an absolute beauty.
He's moved like a man in his 20s, Ross Taylor.
That's his family there. They're excited.
I can remember I went on a trip to, I think I was playing in the Caribbean Premier League, and a couple of the South African players had their elder players had their kids there, and it was cool. You could see them, they were experiencing, and I thought I always wanted to do that. And they all had iPads, and I said, I'm never going to give my kids iPads. Well, if it wasn't for iPads, I don't think we could travel, actually.
What feeling do you guys get when you see Dad walk out there for New Zealand?
We feel great and we feel really...
Very proud, I think,
proud.
is probably the only way to describe it. A little bit nervous at times.
We get nervous.
Yeah.
I stress out a lot. And we say yay. Sorry, Dad. When he wins. And we go Daddy.
Yeah.
Ross Taylor.
I sort of just listened to start with. Whatever he decided, I was going to back him 100%. So yeah, when he finally came to me with that decision, I was like, okay, well, you just got to do what you feel. And for him, the time was right, and I'm not going to argue with that.
But the game of cricket's been fantastic to my family. Getting, the kids were at the World Cup final, gone to places all over the world that, if it wasn't for cricket, I don't think we would ever have travelled to. But, it becomes challenging. As you get older, they understand that Dad's going away for 2 or 3 months.
There's been a lot of sacrifice over the years from everybody. And so, yeah, it'll be nice to sort of move on and live a normal life as such.
Victoria's held the fort down fantastically well. She's been a rock for the family, and you need that in this day and age. If you don't have a supportive family and friends, it becomes very tough. And I won't. That's one thing I do that I won't miss. I can still go to weddings and birthdays and funerals that you can't go to, unfortunately. So I'm looking forward to, and I think my friends are too. Like, when I told them that I was retiring, that's what 3 or 4 of them were saying. They're like, well, mate, we're going to miss the free tickets, but I actually want to see you more, which is pretty cool.
It'll be very emotional, I think. It's been a long road. But I think mixed emotions too. We'll be very proud and excited for the next chapter as well. Yeah, it's provided us with a life that we could never have dreamed of. So yeah, we feel very privileged and yeah, lucky to be a part of it.
Oh, he's off the mark. Oh, that's a shot.
Oh, and again. And again.
Straight down the ground. And there it is, Ross Taylor. He jogs through and he takes himself through to 17 Test hundreds. He equals Kane Williamson and also his mentor, the late, great Martin Crowe.
Yeah, I think I don't really remember much of Hogan as a player, to be fair. Like, they probably greats him, but I don't really remember. I remember 92 World Cup and innings, but he was never a batsman I thought I want to emulate. Or he came and watched one of my first innings before I'd called him. But I sort of knew that I wasn't really where I needed to be, I think, to be a Test cricketer. And I'm glad Leanne never told me, my manager Leanne, because when he came the first time to watch me, he told Leanne, that guy's nothing but a dirty slogger. I think the biggest thing for me and Hogan is we had a lot of respect, but it was actually our love for wine where I think we first hit it off. he was more of a Central Otago man. I was trying to get him into the Martinborough Pinos, where I grew up. And I think a lot of our cricket discussions came about from starting with wine. Yeah, and then just finishing from there. Shit. He was hard on you though. Like, I think, like, it wasn't all you know, hugs and pumping your tyres. You know, he was hard on you, which was good, what you needed. But yeah, I think he'd be proud.
Sure, that heart is beating, that number 17 to equal Martin Crowe. What a beautiful shot too down the ground.
Yeah, it was one of the goals he set when I first met him. He said try and get to 17 Test hundreds. I've only got a couple more since. Well, I suppose you always knew it was coming. But yeah. There was one moment out there. He always said, when there's a butterfly, that's him. So there's a butterfly out there. When I was on about 70, so. Well, I suppose that's where Hogan came into it. I always thought I wanted to be a Test player, but I didn't know if I could get there. Being one of my best achievements is turning myself into a Test cricketer, because I definitely didn't think I could be a Test cricketer at the start of my international career. One thing that's probably helped my career out to date is actually having a balance, I think. Having family, having red wine and hobbies and family and friends to connect with gets you away from the game. I think it can eat you up at different stages. But having that balance, knowing it's your job and knowing you want to do well, but knowing it's not forever. At the end of the day, it's just a game.